Israel's greatest threat is not an enemy, it is the map itself. Almost every Israeli city lies within missile range. The country is squeezed into a strip barely 15 kilometers wide at its narrowest. It is surrounded on all sides, with no mountains or major rivers to provide shelter. Even immense military might cannot erase these existential geographic odds. How does a country this vulnerable survive? Measured from north to south, Israel stretches about 470 kilometers, roughly the distance from Boston to Washington, D.C. Yet at its widest, the country spans just 135 kilometers. And in its central coastal belt, the land pinches to a mere 15 kilometers across. That sliver of territory is home to the majority of Israel's population, packed tightly along the Mediterranean. Out of nearly 10 million residents, close to 80% live in the narrow coastal plain and adjacent urban districts. Cities like Tel Aviv, Haifa, Netanya, Ashdod, and Rishon LeZion form a continuous urban corridor where density rivals some of the most crowded stretches on Earth. Tel Aviv's metropolitan area alone accounts for almost half the country's people and economic activity, despite occupying a fraction of the land. The rest of Israel, its hills, deserts, and southern reaches, remains sparsely settled, with vast areas nearly empty by comparison. On a map, Israel's total area is just over 22,000 square kilometers, making it about 1/6 the size of New York State. There is little open space between the border and the heart of daily life. In practical terms, this means that millions of civilians, schools, hospitals, and workplaces are compressed into a strip that can be crossed by car in less than 20 minutes. The sheer concentration of people and infrastructure in such a confined space leaves little room for error and even less for escape. No mountain range or great river shields Israel from its neighbors. Instead, the country sits exposed on every side, with borders that are both short and vulnerable. To the north, the hills of Lebanon and southern Syria rise just beyond the edge of Israel's urban heartland, offering high ground to groups like Hezbollah and a direct line of sight towards cities such as Haifa and Nahariya. The northeast is defined by the Golan Heights and the Jordan Valley, where the terrain slopes quickly down to the densely packed coastal plain. Eastward, the border with Jordan stretches for over 200 kilometers. But the open Rift Valley and lack of significant natural obstacles provide little impediment to movement or attack. Southward, the Sinai Peninsula forms a vast, arid frontier with Egypt. Egypt is officially peaceful, but the peninsula remains a corridor for smuggling and insurgent activity that can reach the Negev and the southern port of Eilat. The Mediterranean Sea to the west, while a vital artery for trade and supply, also exposes Israel's coastline to threats from afar, including advanced missiles and drones that can be launched from ships or distant shores. With no protective ridges or broad rivers to slow an adversary, Israel faces the possibility of simultaneous pressure from every direction. This absence of natural barriers means that any escalation can rapidly become a multi-front crisis, compressing warning times and forcing the country to defend its entire perimeter at once. The geography itself guarantees that the line between border and home front is always razor thin. Since its founding in 1948, Israel has faced a relentless cycle of wars and armed confrontations, each one testing the limits of its geography. The First Arab-Israeli War erupted within hours of independence, as armies from Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq attacked on multiple fronts. 8 years later, in 1956, Israel joined Britain and France in the Suez Crisis, launching a rapid campaign across the Sinai Peninsula. The Six-Day War in 1967 saw Israel preemptively strike Egypt, Syria, and Jordan, capturing territory but also inheriting new, exposed borders. In 1973, the Yom Kippur War brought a surprise assault from Egypt and Syria, with Israeli defenses stretched thin from the Sinai to the Golan Heights. The 1982 Lebanon War shifted the northern front, drawing Israel deep into Lebanon and sowing the seeds for decades of conflict with Hezbollah. In 2006, Hezbollah unleashed thousands of rockets into northern Israel during a month-long war. The pattern continued in the south, as Gaza-based groups launched repeated barrages from 2008 to 2009, in 2012, in 2014, in 2021, and again from 2023 onward. Each escalation, whether a full-scale invasion or a rain of rockets, has forced Israel to mobilize across its entire perimeter, revealing how geography makes every conflict a national emergency. Israel stands as one of the world's top 15 military spenders, ranked near 15th globally, despite being just the 152nd largest country by land area. Each year, around 4.5 to 5% of its entire economy is devoted to defense, double or triple the share spent by most Western countries. The United States provides $3.8 billion annually in military aid, yet Israel's own budget remains immense, driven by the need to counter threats from every direction. Over half the country is the arid Negev desert, with limited rainfall and little arable land. Even with advanced irrigation and pioneering water technology, Israel cannot grow enough to feed itself. Most of its cereals and animal feed are imported, along with the majority of fish, vegetable oils, pulses, and nuts. The country's high-tech sector, the Israel Defense Forces, and world-renowned intelligence agencies like Mossad all work to offset these vulnerabilities. But no matter how sophisticated the systems or how rapid the innovation, the map does not change. Geography imposes a ceiling on what technology and spending can achieve, leaving Israel's core population and infrastructure exposed in ways that no amount of military power can fully erase. In a region where terrain still shapes destiny, Israel's map remains its greatest vulnerability. No military edge can redraw those lines. Geography, not force, sets the boundaries of survival. Oh, and I almost forgot. YouTube thinks you might like this video next, so let me know if they are right.